Well, hello, and welcome to another episode of Speaking with Confidence with Kat Matson. Yes, I am Kat, and I coach humble leaders, whether they're business owners, public servants, or other corporate hippies, I like to say, how to speak with authority, with authenticity, with confidence, and with impact so they can make their dent in the universe without you know, all the hustle, all the hardcore, charismatic, I'm so awesome, but instead just show up. So, welcome back if you are a regular listener, or if this is your first time, if this is your first ever time tuning in, welcome to Speaking with Confidence. It's awesome to have you here. Now, before I get stuck into today's episode, which is all about how do you pitch yourself for a speaking gig when an opportunity comes up, when somebody's putting out the call for conference speakers or podcast guests, how do you pitch yourself? Before I get stuck into that, I've got a couple of little logistical things. So, first up, last week I talked about, well, in my social media on Instagram, I talked about how I was testing for the very first time video podcasts on Spotify. Who knew? Who knew that video podcasting was a thing on Spotify? Well, maybe you did. I didn't. Well, it is. So now all of these podcast episodes are being published to Spotify as a video podcast. Now, if you are listening on Spotify, it will default to the video, but you just click the little button if you'd prefer to listen and just say audio only. How cool is that? If you are listening on other platforms like Apple or Stitcher or Google Podcasts, wherever you're listening, you are getting just the audio version. But if you'd prefer to see the video, then come on over to Spotify. Worth noting, if you are just listening, the video, there's no special effects. It's me sitting in my study, just having a chat. So you're not missing out on much other than perhaps a little bit of eye contact. So that's the first thing. The second thing that I wanted to let you know about is if you are listening in real time, if you are listening in the week of around the 21st, 22nd of January 2025, then I want to let you know about an event I'm hosting this Friday. It's happening at lunchtime Brisbane time, so 12:30 Australian Eastern Standard Time, and it's a practice session. In fact, I'm calling it Kat's Speak Easy practice session. If you have a presentation coming up, if you want to practice your elevator pitch, or maybe you want to practice your pitch for a conference that you're about to make, then that's exactly what this space is for. So I've popped the link into the show notes, Kat's Speak Easy practice session, and you can come along. If you're not listening in real time, or if you can't make it to that session, then the other link that you'll see in the show notes is for a confidence boosting curiosity call. That's a confidence boosting curiosity call, where if you would just like some tips, if you'd like to know how to work with me, or if you'd like to better understand what you specifically need to do to improve your speaking confidence, then I offer a free 20-minute call where we just have a chat. If I've got some programs that are going to support you, awesome sauce. And in that 20 minutes, I'm here to serve you and to provide you with some tips on how you can improve your speaking confidence. So that's the logistics. Now, the episode. How do you pitch yourself? Now, this question comes from a gorgeous listener and a member of my community, Nick Hurd. Now, Nick is a coach. She works with women, particularly women creatives, to help them bring their fullest expression to the world and create businesses that they love. And she asked the question, how do I pitch? How do I pitch myself as a speaker when the opportunity arises? And it's an awesome question. And I decided to do this one this week because, well, we're still in New Year's kind of resolution mode, right? And a lot of us, whether you're a business owner or whether you're a public servant or a leader in a corporate organization and you're wanting to increase your profile, perhaps get a promotion this year, then speaking engagements are a really powerful way to do it. And so when that call goes out and somebody says, you should pitch, you should put yourself forward, you should get up on that stage, most people will kind of feel, oh, yeah, I should, but then they stall with the, but how do I pitch? How do I pitch myself for this speaking opportunity? So if you're listening and you're thinking, oh, but I could never because I suck at speaking and I get too nervous and all those kind of things, well, just pause for a moment because I have an entire back catalogue of podcast episodes that can talk you through how to show up on stage once you've got this gig in a way that is confident and that is authentic. So, if that's the only thing that's stopping you, then perhaps this year is your opportunity to show up at a conference, particularly if it's a conference that you're already a member of the community, like it's a bit of a safe space. So, if you would like to increase your profile, if you would like to reach more people, if you would like to get over your fear of public speaking by facing the fear and doing it anyway, then pitching yourself to speak at somebody else's conference is a really powerful way to do it. So when the opportunity comes up, when somebody says, hey, you should pitch yourself, you should put yourself forward, you should apply to speak at this conference, how do you do it? Well, the first question to ask yourself is this opportunity aligned for you? Is it aligned in terms of the audience? Are the conference attendees or are the podcast listeners, are they your people? Are they your target market? There is no point whatsoever you investing your time in pitching or then trying to convince a conference organizer or a podcast host to take you on if it's not your audience. Now, I see a lot of this. I see a lot of people just pitching themselves for anything. In fact, in a lot of the podcast groups that I belong to, I see this all the time. Hey, do you talk to, women aged 35 and above? If so, I'd really like to speak on your podcast. No, that's not narrow enough. That's not like, what is this audience listening to this podcast for? And is your topic, is your expertise aligned? So the first question around alignment is the audience aligned? Second, is your topic aligned? Not just to the audience, but to this conference. So a really good example of this is when we tend to think, trying to think of an example off the top of my head here. We might be life coaches or in that life coaching personal development space. And so we see all sorts of opportunities to speak because everybody needs what we've got, right? But if I was to pitch a personal development topic, I tend to call that the love, trust and pixie dust topic. And that's me, I'm a coach. But if I'm going to pitch that to a corporate organizer, a corporate conference organizer who is focusing on sustainability in local government, it doesn't fit. The audience might be my ideal audience. In fact, they might even benefit from what I have to say, but that audience is going to that conference to hear about sustainability in local government. And so a personal development, love, trust and pixie dust style topic doesn't align. So are the audiences aligned? Is your topic aligned? Does it fit with the rest of the program? And then your final question when you're considering whether or not this is for you is, what do you want from it? Now, some conferences will pay you to speak. But if you're questioning whether or not you should be pitching yourself, I'm guessing that this is an exposure pitch, not a paid speaking gig. So, if that's the case, what do you want from it? Do you want more people to know your name? Do you want people to sign up to your newsletter list? Do you want people to come into your free challenge? Like, there needs to be real clarity for you around what you are going to get out of this if you're successful. So once you're clear on that part, once you're clear about whether or not this is an opportunity that is aligned for you, then you need to align your experience, your outcomes, and your expertise with that of the conference organizer. So I talk about this a lot, WIIFM. In fact, I talked about this in last week's episode. WIIFM is what's in it for me, the radio station that everybody in the world is always listening to all the time. What's in it for me? Well, in the context of pitching yourself to a conference organizer or to a podcast host, it's what's in it for them. With it, what's in it for them. Now, I've organised plenty of conferences and I've worked with plenty of conference organisers. And the thing about putting together a conference is that it's not just about lining up speakers, it's about curating a really good program of complementary speakers. So even if you have an awesome pitch, even if you are a magical fit, even if you think you are a magical fit, you need to respect and understand that perhaps the conference organiser doesn't see how you fit in the context of the rest of their program. So when you're pitching, when you're putting yourself forward for somebody else's conference, you need to just play with a straight bat. You need to own your expertise, own where you think you fit, and let the conference organizer understand what is it that you're going to bring to the conference, because they're trying to pull together something that's amazing, that's going to sell tickets, that's going to attract their people, that's going to do what it says on the label. So what's in it for your conference organizer? That's the first thing that you need to get clear on. The second thing is what's in it for your conference organizer's audience. What is it about you and your presentation that they're going to take away something that goes, oh, that was fantastic, or oh, that changed my life, or oh, that was really valuable. So with those two pieces in mind, you then want to craft a topic heading that is a hook that you can almost imagine on the conference program, that is clear, that is benefit orientated, that says, oh yeah. So then your conference organizer can look at your pitch and go, that's a perfect fit. That's exactly the kind of topic I want on this program. The other thing that you need to then include in your pitch is the key takeaways. 3, maybe 5 things that the audience will take away. It's that little blurb where you see in a conference program that says attendees will walk away with blah, blah, blah. What will the attendees, what will the audience walk away with? Now, I tend to think that when people are pitching themselves for conferences or for podcast guesting, they tend to over focus on their expertise. Kat Matson's got an MBA. She's been speaking to all audiences of all sizes for many years, blah, blah, blah. Your actual conference organizer in the moment of choosing who's going onto the program doesn't care about that. If you've got a good strong hook, a good strong topic that demonstrates value, and 5 or 3 key takeaways, then your conference organizer is going to look at it and go, yeah, that fits. And it'll be in the follow-up when they ask for your bio, when they ask for all the information that you can demonstrate all of the rest of the expertise and the experience. But if you've got a hook and you've got those key takeaways, then you are demonstrating that you are valuable to your conference organizer rather than trying to prove it with your resume. The other thing that I see people do at this point is that they overthink it. This is why I recommend that you start with that alignment piece first. Is this audience, is this conference, is this opportunity aligned for you? If it's a yes, awesome. The rest of it should flow. If it's a not, don't pitch. There'll be another opportunity. Just because somebody's calling for speakers doesn't mean that you should be putting your hand up. Having said that, it also doesn't mean that if you need to reorientate your topic so that it does fit, that you shouldn't do it. I mean, one of my top topics is how to manage imposter syndrome. But that topic doesn't necessarily fit every single conference organizer. And so I need to reorientate it to give them a different, more meaningful, more aligned hook if I'm pitching it. The other thing to do when you are pitching yourself as a conference, as a speaker, if you can, give some social proof, some testimonials. Now, ideally, these testimonials will come from other conference organizers or other conference organizers or audiences who have heard you speak. Kat was really engaging. I really learnt some fabulous information from her, whatever those comments are. If you don't have that, some relevant testimonials from your clients. Kat's information is awesome. I always walk away so reassured, or I'm always so inspired when I hear Kat in a coaching session. If you don't have any of those things, leave them out And depending on how well you know the conference organizer, depending on whether you are part of that community, you might even consider owning it. This is my first speaking gig that I've ever pitched for. I'm really nervous, but I'm keen to use this opportunity to be in a friendly and in a safe space. Now, you need to know your community before you do that. The reason we put in our social proof, the reason we put in our testimonials is to help remove the risk for your conference organizer. So you're possibly thinking, well, hang on a second, if you just acknowledge that this is your first speaking gig and that you're nervous, that's not removing risk. No, but if your topic is aligned enough, and if your conference organizer can see that you're really keen, what they might do is actually pair you up to do a fireside chat or put you on a panel. In fact, you can even suggest that, look, I'm really keen to deliver this topic to your audience because I think it's really powerful. Maybe I'm not experienced enough to deliver a full keynote, but I would love to be on a panel. Or I'd love to participate in a fireside chat. Or I'd love to host a smaller breakout group. I see so often people not putting themselves forward because they don't feel like they've got the experience. But how do you get the experience without getting the experience? And by being really open about that in the right communities, then one, you're at least putting yourself on the radar. You're getting the practice of the pitch, and you never know. Maybe you will get the opportunity to speak at a conference. Maybe. So, they're my top suggestions for you, Nick, on how to pitch yourself when an opportunity comes up. A couple of other just general tips. Be authentic. Be authentic. Do not sit there and put in all of these fluff words to make you sound more audacious, more charismatic, more engaging. Just, again, align with the conference's audience, align with your topic, and talk about what they're going to get from it. My other hot tip, do not, under any circumstances, use AI to write the pitch. I can't tell you how fast your pitch will be kicked out because we can see it. We can see it. By all means, if you are a good user of AI, brainstorm the topic, brainstorm the hooks, but make sure that your pitch is written in your language and in your way. I think the final thing that I want to say is balance enthusiasm without sounding desperate or pleading. You want to put yourself forward as confident and knowing that you're going to add value. And as I said, even if you are inexperienced in speaking, but you want to pitch yourself, own that. I'm inexperienced. I believe I have a lot of value to add, and I would like to explore ways that I can contribute to your conference program. Just give space for it rather than one, trying to overcompensate in your pitch, or two, not pitching at all and then not getting the experience. So, I hope that's been useful. I really do hope that's been useful. And Nicole, let me know. Let me know how you go with your pitching. If you have any comments, questions, thoughts, or concerns about everything that I've just discussed, if you're listening or watching on Spotify, you can literally ask me a question right there. Right here in Spotify, you can ask me a question in the comments. If you're not listening on Spotify, then the best way to have a chat with me is over on Instagram. You can find me at Kat Matson, that's CATMATSON. You can find Kat Matson very easily over at Instagram, and you can just DM me and let me know that you're listening to the episode and ask me your question. Of course, a reminder too, if you're listening in real time before the 25th or the 24th, of January, then come along to the Speak Easy practice session. The Speak Easy practice session, a safe, friendly space where you can literally practice your speaking, practice answering questions, practice your introduction, practice whatever it is that you're working on, because seriously, the only way you get better at speaking is by speaking, by doing more of it. And if you would prefer just a one-on-one conversation, then use the other link in the show notes to book in for a confidence-boosting curiosity call. Next week's episode is for the everyday conversations that I feel like we're always in, online meetings. How do you be part of an online meeting? How do you engage in an online meeting? And how do you ensure that you don't suck when you are hosting an online meeting? So that is next week's episode. Episodes drop every Wednesday. If you haven't already followed or subscribed, I would love you forever if you did that. One, it tells the algorithm that people like it. And two, it means that you're not missing out on these gorgeous coaching style episodes. With all of that said, I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I look forward to seeing you again next week. In the meantime, here's to confidence and here's to impact.